I would like to call to order our Board of Trustees of the Batavia Public Library, our public hearing for an ordinance levying an annual tax for library purposes in the Batavia Public Library District in the counties of King and DuPage, Illinois for fiscal year 2017 to 2018. We need to call the roll first, please.
Okay, Blodgett?
Here.
Kulata?
Here.
Deichmann?
Here.
Garrett?
Here.
Enders?
Here.
McKenzie?
Here.
Smith? Here.
All right. So our public hearing is open. Do we read, how much of this do we read, George, for the record?
The gold sheet.
We do read the gold sheet, okay. So the public hearing on proposed property tax increases for the Batavia Public Library District. Section 1, this is a public hearing on the proposed property tax increase for the Batavia Public Library District for 2017, fiscal year beginning 1 July 2017 and ending 30 July 2018. Section 2, pursuant to the Truth in Taxation Act, the Board of Library Trustees adopted a resolution determining the amount of money estimated to be necessary to be raised by the tax levy, Resolution 2017-010, at its regular meeting on Tuesday, 17 October 2017. Section 3, in accordance with Illinois statutes, the Library District published a black bordered notice of proposed property tax increase for the Batavia Public Library District on Thursday, 9 November 2017. This notice was published in the Kane County Chronicle. Section 4, that the corporate and special purpose property tax extended or abated for 2016 were $3,351,025.03. Proposed corporate and special purpose taxes to be levied for 2017 are $3,625,600, which represents an increase of 8.1938% over the previous year. That the property taxes extended or abated for debt service and public building compensation leases for 2016 were $739,176.14. The estimated property taxes to be levied for debt service and public building commission leases for 2017 are $730,800, which represents an increase, a decrease of 1.1332% from the previous year. Section 6, that the total property taxes extended or abated for 2016 were $4,090,201.17. The estimated total property taxes to be levied for 2017 are $4,356,400, which represents an increase of 6.5082% over the previous year. In the published notice, persons desiring to appear at the public hearing and present testimony to the taxing district were requested to contact the library director. No one contacted the library director for this purpose. In fact, no one contacted the library director to discuss the proposed property tax increase. If there is any person who desires to present testimony to the taxing district represented by this Board of Library Trustees, please step forward at this time. Seeing no one. So the next item is the ordinance itself. We're not going to read.
That's just attached
For reference. Okay. All right, seeing no comment, I will call adjournment. Do we need a voice vote to adjourn?
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn, please.
I so moved.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. Second by Trustee Blodgett. Although, oh, sorry, voice.
Voice
For this also, okay.
Blodgett?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Voice.
Just roll call?
Oh.
You don't need a roll call.
Okay.
Just a regular.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. Okay. We're stumbling, we are through with our public hearing then. Our next item is to call to order our regular meeting for the Board of Trustees of the Batavia Public Library. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you would start with the roll call, please.
Okay, Blodgett?
Here.
Kulata?
Here.
Deichmann?
Here.
Garrett?
Here.
Enders?
Here.
McKenzie?
Here.
Smith? Here.
Excellent. Comments from the audience? Seeing no audience, we'll move to approve the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the minutes from our regular meeting on 17 October 2017, our public hearing on 7 November 2017, and our special meeting on 7 November 2017, which we're dealing with the levy. Our expenditures are in here, and then other action items are an ordinance levying the annual taxes for library purposes in the Batavia Public Library District in the counties of Kane and DuPage, Illinois for the fiscal year of 2017 to 2018. And a resolution approving and authorizing the library director to execute an application for a 2017-2018 per capita grant. A resolution repealing a personal policy on personal purchases, which was discussed in the Standing Committee on Services. And a resolution repealing a policy on use of library grounds, which was also discussed at the Standing Committee on Services. And the biannual review of closed sessions as required by 5 ILCS 120/2.06D as done by the board secretary. Does anybody wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? This is also a roll call, right? Thank you.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Roderick?
Aye.
Kulada?
Aye.
Deichmann?
Aye.
Garrett?
Aye.
Enders?
Aye.
McKenzie?
Aye.
Smith? Aye.
I got ahead of myself. I didn't have a motion in a second. Would somebody like to motion in a second?
I so move.
Budget
Second.
moves. Thank you. Kalada? Okay. So we do the roll call again, please. Thank you.
Roderick?
Aye.
Kulada?
Aye.
Deichmann?
Aye.
Garrett?
Aye.
Enders?
Aye.
McKenzie?
Aye.
Smith? Aye.
All right. That's all right. No, thanks for keeping me on straight. I would not want to break the rules of order here. Next is, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Thanks, Mike.
A second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Right?
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. First item is financial reports. Joe is not with us this evening. He is out sick.
He is out this evening, and he did not give me any notes about anything particular to report upon, but the written reports are in the packet.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
From your vantage point, does everything look to be on track and on trend in terms of where the spend is at this point?
Yes, it seems to be the only anomaly we have at this point, I would think, is that we have not received the check for the per capita grant from the state of Illinois yet. So
We
this,
usually get that.
in the spring.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought
So
you
it's
made
not
it
late
sound
yet?
like it was late. Okay.
No, I mean last spring.
Last spring.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, last
So
spring.
it is late.
Yeah,
Oh.
this is the latest it has ever been, so
Late to all libraries?
I am not aware of a single library that has received it so far.
Okay.
Have they communicated as to why?
No, but I think it's, wrapped up in, the source of funds is through the Secretary of State's office and fees from motor vehicles and things like that. So there hypothetically is money there for this, but they just haven't released it. So there may be some step that needs to take place somewhere, comptroller's office, treasurer, someplace.
Maybe they need a reminder.
Well, libraries across the state are, I won't use the strong word as harassing the state library, but there's a lot of people who are communicating.
Reminding them.
Yeah.
Is this the application that was part of the consent
Correct.
agenda for the next year?
For the next year's, yeah. So it's not a huge amount of money in our budget, but it's $20,000 this last time around, and we use that for some really good purposes, so we hope it does come too long.
Well, it was approved, right?
Yes.
Okay. They accepted
We actually have a letter of approval committing the state to pay it. Or whatever the...
George, can you expound a little bit on what the materials are? These are things that we will not purchase them if the money does not come, or we have already purchased them and...
The per capita grant money?
Yes.
We, at first, Joe blinked on this and thought we had received the check, so we began to use some of that money, and then he realized, no, we haven't received the check, so we have frozen any spending against that source of funds.
Okay.
And we spent a little enough that we can absorb it in the rest of the budget if we need to. So So we did inadvertently start to spend a little bit of it, but nothing so significant that it warrants if the state defaults.
Regarding the adult reference materials, in actual October, there's 12,456 in parentheses. What does that mean? Does that mean that we underspent or overspent?
Yeah.
That was a correction. Joe had given me the budget to look over, and I believe it was reference databases. And he had put it in our reference book budget. He had taken it from that budget instead. So I think that reflects the correction that he made. Because I was startled to see that much in the other direction.
Sure.
which I
Yeah.
didn't understand.
Okay, thank you.
So that, thank you, Stacy, because I was not privy to that conversation. But the top of the next page is where the money got transferred to database subscriptions. Any other questions I can respond to? Or attempt to respond?
All right, so that's item 7, financial reports. President's report, I don't have much to report. We do have a question as to whether or not we're going to have a meeting in December. Do we have anything that needs to be covered?
The only possible thing we might have had was the parking lot, and although I haven't had a chance to communicate this to Joanne yet, I found out from email that they've done the, last Thursday morning, they did the test borings around the parking lot. And BTC found out from the contractor that was doing that they won't have the results until after the middle of the month of December, which means they won't have anything to present even to the committee meeting. So we're looking at that coming back to the facilities committee in January at this point, the design and specs. And so there's nothing else really pending in December that is time sensitive. So the board, once in the last 12 years, has had a meeting in December. And if the board itself doesn't have any compelling reason to meet, then I don't have any reason to recommend your meeting.
I have no reason unless anybody else has one. Okay, we will not have a December meeting then. I'll strike that off my next meeting list.
One question. Does that change anything with Nancy's,
No, she sent an email
Right.
saying that we can.
that we could do it over,
Yeah.
if we don't have a committee meeting
Yeah.
or a board meeting, we could do it in January?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think she asked for comments via email.
right.
Okay. Very good. That's all I have for the president's report then. Item 9 is good news and comments from the board. Does anybody have anything they want to share?
I went to the mayor's breakfast.
Oh,
Along
great.
with Mike and Rich and George.
Thanks for going.
How was it?
It was my first time going, so I found it very, very interesting. You know, the mayor gives a nice little talk about the city that he knows so well.
He's very entertaining.
He is very entertaining, and he showed many pictures. I think he was making the point that improvement and change is a good thing, and he showed pictures of various buildings that are there today and what was there like 20 years ago, and it was very informative for me.
Some of the examples were drastic.
Very drastic. Some of the buildings that were there were like,
Back in the 60s and 70s, Wilson Street, pretty much from, one side of the road to the other was factories. And so you had some before and afters of factories and stores and things, and it was startling, actually, to see.
there was one that
Much better.
actually resembled a hut. A very, very dilapidated looking hut. I don't know. I found it very, very informative.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that we're obviously very lucky to have him here, but he can just go on off the cuff for literally days. But it's all interesting.
It's all good.
It really is. So,
He's a Batavia treasure.
yeah.
All right.
Mike, what did you think?
Yeah, it's always informative once Mayor is talking and spinning the yarn.
There seems to be a lot of development, not just the two big projects that are on hold right now, but a lot of housing and other commercial development underway. He actually predicted Batavia's population topping out over 30,000 at this point. You know,
No, the one property I don't recall him commenting on was across from the Viking Lodge and the Masons, is that old electrical components place.
yeah, he didn't, did he?
Oh, it's Siemens?
Yeah, the old Siemens property, which has been,
In Furnace Orchard,
yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't talk about that. Because they stopped working on that site. They were clearing it off really nicely, and they stopped working. I finally, I haven't got official word on this, but someone that should know whether this is correct or not said that in the process of doing the work they're doing of removing grading and putting in new soil and things like that, that they found a patch of the foundry sand that was not previously identified as being there because it wasn't where the heavy equipment was. And if that's true, that would explain why they just stopped dead and left the equipment on the site. So we probably won't see anything else happen there till the spring. But,
That works weather dependent, so.
that'll be an interesting site to develop.
Yeah, hopefully it'll bring good things for us. Okay. Anybody have anything else to share? All right. Correspondence and communication.
The only, it's in the, yes, well, it's in, there are a couple things, and one thing we get from Illinois Funds, Joe shared this report we got us a quarterly fund performance update. And 5 or 6 years ago, the interest had dropped to practically nothing each year, and Illinois Funds changed how it was investing and where it was investing its money. And this rebounded quite heavily because the net yields are just looking better than they ever have looked. So that's why in our budget there's more of an interest line than there was a few years ago.
Is this where we put all of our cash then? It sits in this? Or?
All of our cash sits in Illinois Funds.
Okay.
And it's highly protected. And when I first got here, it was outperforming any private thing you could find or any investment pool like IMET is one in the state of Illinois. And then it started to slide, and we stuck with it, and it's rebounded. And some of the other ones have not done as well. So I guess there's a lesson there, I think, about long-term investing, but it's safe and it's working, it's producing for us. The other thing is actually mentioned in the director's report, but we included the program card for the next Pachacachon night for your information. One side has the details on where it's at, the other side has the list of programs in the order they're going to be presented. So it's rather eclectic, I guess they're all eclectic, mix of programs for your interest and amusement.
Excellent. And that is, what's the date again on that?
It is November 30th.
Thursday, November 30th, okay. All right, directors and librarians reports.
Okay, you have a written report in your packet. We have all the statistical data in there for you now, and we're going to be trying to produce some other visual things. Joe has actually been playing around with some pie charts and line graphs and things like that to help with some of the financial information. We'll see what we can do to make some of the other statistical data come to life a little bit more for you. This is the time where there's a lot of things going on. We've participated, now this is our 11th year to participate with the Batavia Access Toy Store. Sorry about that. And we're a drop-off site, and Michelle tells me that we are the best drop-off site based on the number of things that are dropped off for the city, so that's good. The actual toy store, courtesy of Batavia Enterprises, will be in the old Walgreens for the second year in a row, because it has substantial square footage for that. So we're always happy to participate in those kind of things. We will very shortly be putting up our 12-foot artificial Christmas tree in the circulation lobby. It's a seasonal favorite, I think, in the community, and different staff members will put on the lights and decorate it, and it makes a nice, cheery sight when you walk in the library. And then Joanne is participating again this year in the holiday story time at the Celebration of Lights, which comes up next Sunday at 6:15 at Augustus Research Center. And I don't even know how many years you've been doing that, Joanne. It's been a while.
I think it's about 18.
Very good, very good. Yeah, probably Joanne might have stole something from Joanne's report. And then the Inspire Awards, which was formerly the annual dinner for the Batavia Chamber of Commerce, was converted to a cocktail party several years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, which features the Ole Awards and the Citizen of the Year Award, is scheduled for Thursday, January 25th. For the second year in a row, is the Nagel Emporium at Abbey Farms, and we often try to get a group up for this. The library professional development fund line item will cover the cost of managers and trustees that wish to go to this, and spouses are welcome as well. We just would need to get a reimbursement for their fee for that, but it's usually a fun and informative event. The library, for really over a decade, has tried to make a nice presence there to show the community and the business community our activities. So we'll be sending out more information about that and asking if you'd be interested in attending that. And our Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund rate went down this year. It seems to go up one year and down the next based on the last 4 or 5 years. And so the new rate for 2018 is comparable to the rate for 2016, and the rate for 2017 was comparable to the rate for 2015. But it's always nice when it goes down, because that actually saves us a little money in our budget. And then we do have another new Lyceum lecture series coming up, event coming up very soon. I won't steal Stacy's report on that. I'll be happy to answer any questions about my piece.
I'm glad to learn that Joe's toying around with maybe some different visualizations of the data. I think it'll be great when we see what different models can look like. I see on the circulation, we can compare it to prior years.
We can
to start to see that trend. It'll be interesting to see where the visualization goes, so that we can see maybe like the big buckets of circulation, programs, and then services, or however we would term it. I'm thinking, in terms of circulation, when people traditionally come in for the books and seeing where that particular offering is going, increase, decrease, the programs that adults and youth have and how participation is going there, and then all the other things that everybody on staff provides in terms of services, whether it's assistance around genealogy or the tech services the reference desk provides so much, or anything else that's going downstairs that's more of a service and not so much a program. And I think all of that, to see how that's been trending over the past few years, will be a great complement to the community engagement effort, right? Because that's what people say they want, and the data is going to show us what they've actually been doing over the past few years. So blending that qualitative with the quantitative, I think, will provide a really healthy story for the future strategy.
I think it'll be interesting. Some of the big numbers, like the number of things we check out, libraries regionally and nationwide almost go through these ebb and flows. So we'll see numbers that may go up and down a little bit. We see that sometimes on a month-to-month basis. the long-term trend for us, I know will show a steady increase until about 5 or so years ago, and then a gradual decline leveling off, and then a bump when we went to automatic renewals, and then sort of a leveling off again. But it's interesting, our trends, recent trends actually mirror most of the libraries in our area based on conversations I've had. But I think when we start to look at books versus downloadables versus audiovisual things, I think that's what, I think there'll be some interesting things to see there. You know, are people really embracing ebooks more? You know, or, you know, how does that relate? I think you're right, there's some interesting things that come in. And some things that may not make any sense whatsoever, I fear, but that's okay. It's good for us to start looking at that and figuring out what's what. So.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for George? All right. Hi, Joanne.
Hello. Just a few things to pull out from my report. We finished our bookmark contest. We've done this for a number of years. We invite 1st through 5th graders to submit a bookmark design based on a particular theme. And this year we did have the most we've ever had. We had over 800 entries, and we picked 4 winners in every age group, so that's only 20 winners. And I'm going to send around the winning bookmarks. Feel free to take one if you'd like. And we had some great designs for this year for our theme, Fall into Reading. And it's just kind of a fun thing to do. We really promote this through the LRC directors or the principals. We go to the private schools as well as the public schools, and anyone is welcome to participate or just pick up an application down, a design application down at the youth services desk. And it's just a fun opportunity for children to just submit something and a design that they think about when they think about reading or a particular theme. Every child whose bookmark creation is a winner receives 35 copies of their bookmark that they can hand out to anybody that they want to, friends, family. I hear many come in and say there are Christmas presents for all their family members are going to go on everybody's Christmas card, or they give them to their classmates, and then we have them at the desk as well. And it is very fun when people come in and say, oh, pick somebody from J.B. Nelson or Louise White or whatever school they go to. Even if they don't know the child, you know, they'll pick somebody from their school so they can have their bookmark. So that's always a lot of fun. So we had some great designs and a lot of great winners. I'm going to send some posters around for some of our fall events. Fall is a busy time. Bat Fest stories this year, weather was not great. We've been very fortunate the past number of years where we've had beautiful fall-like weather, a little nippy, and a little rainy this year. So we did move indoors, but we still had great attendance. Over 200 children and grown-ups came, and Jen Connon, one of our newest staff member, and I did a story time up in the founders room, and it was still a lot of fun, and seeing all the costumes, and it was a great time, followed by the Mothers Club parade, which then went out from the founders room, out the emergency doors, and then down 31 to Wilson Street. And I'm also sending around 2 posters from what continues to be probably one of our top fun programs is Late Night at the Library. And it's an after-hours event for 3rd through 5th graders. And we do scavenger hunt, and we have a performer come, and we set up a maze in the adult collection, and they get to run around in the adult collection and look for things. This year they were looking for the 7 continents. And so it is a really great time. And in my report I mentioned a family who came in, a mom who came in last year afterwards and just said her son had come for the first time. He was a 3rd grader, and he doesn't do a lot of our programs, but he came to Late Night, and he was so excited about it when he got home that he told his mother, make sure you sign me up for the next one. I want to go. So that is a very popular program. Yes, we are hosting Celebration of Lights, and Rich is representing the board as a guest reader. We have readers from the police department, the fire department, the mayor and Mrs. Schilke will be reading. I'm represented from the Batavia Mothers Club and the Park District as well. So we have about a 45-minute story time out at the Gustafson Research Center. So join us, and this year they're doing something special where they're lighting the lights on the caboose, I believe, as well that evening, so it should be a lot of fun. And one more thing that I wanted to bring to your attention, I mentioned it in my report, but I think it's worthwhile mentioning it again. We received memorial gifts in memory of a former staff member at Batavia Library. Pearl Blass had been a staff member for over 30 years, and for many of those years was in the children's department prior to me coming, and then was also in circulation. And Pearl was also the keynote speaker at the dedication of the new library in 2002. And when she passed away about a year and a half ago, then memorials came to the library, and her daughter, Judy Larson, asked that something in youth services be purchased in those because of Pearl's connection to youth services and story time and children's librarian. So we purchased a print, a Dr. Seuss limited edition print that is hanging downstairs just as you pass the display case on the right-hand wall. So we have a Dr. Seuss print there, and we were able to purchase and frame that print, and then we're able to frame a print that was donated to us by Tom Lichtenheld, a local illustrator from Geneva, and that is on the wall near the play area just before the exit doors. And we'll be putting together some little art plaques saying what the gifts are from and what the gifts are. But just come down and see them. They are a very beautiful addition to the Youth Services Department, and have already, families have already, oh, look, the Dr. Seuss print, or the one by Tom Lichtenheld, it's Duck Rabbit, and you just have to look at it and decide whether you think it's a duck or a rabbit. And that's the interesting part of that. And so there's a lot of discussions happening about those two prints, but we're very fortunate to have received those gifts in honor of a wonderful lady and someone who really had the library at heart. And so come on down and take a look at our new prints. We're very excited to have them. So, any questions I could answer? Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Hi, Stacy.
Hello. Three things I'd like to highlight from my report. First, George mentioned we have a new Lyceum lecture coming up, and that's on December 11th, 7 o'clock. Thomas M. Armstrong is going to be presenting Civil Rights Freedom Rider. He has written a book about his experiences as a freedom rider in the early 1960s called Autobiography of a Freedom Rider, and he's going to be talking about experiences that he lived through. I added a couple of graphs to my report this month. Database use now has a graph attached to it, courtesy of the librarian who compiles those statistics for us, so thanks to Lee. And I also threw in some Batavia history page view statistics with a graph, and the Bootsy statistics graphed as well. So if there are other things you'd like to see in that format, let me know, and I'll throw them into our report in the future. One other thing I wanted to mention is our One Book, One Batavia selection for 2018, which is the book The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, Creating Currents of Electricity and Hope by William Kamkwamba. We're going to start publicizing this in our next newsletter. I wanted you to know about it first. It's a nonfiction book written by a man about his experiences as a child in Malawi when he read books about how to build a windmill and then built one. So it's about ingenuity and perseverance and learning from books. The way he writes about, like, I was getting choked up, the way he was writing about what he was learning from books. And then he built a windmill that helped to provide energy and electricity to his small village, and eventually went on to become, he delivered a TED Talk and so forth. So Lee is developing some programs that will relate to the themes in the book, and those will be taking place in the first quarter of 2018. We have many copies of the book already on the shelf, which are a per capita grant purchase every year, or sometimes the Friends. And this is a series that every year the Friends sponsor, and they join with us in the selection of the book along with a representative from Batavia High School. So we're looking forward to the One Book, One Batavia season.
I just have one quick question.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What is a Readers Advisory Conference?
Reader's Advisory.
It sounds really interesting.
It really is. It has to do with suggesting books to readers.
Oh.
So examples of passive Reader's Advisory include our book displays, the signs that we have, our My Librarian pages, and then we do active Reader's Advisory. When someone is placing a hold on something, we might say, are you looking for something to take with you today? And we match someone up with a book. A lot of times this time of year, in the summer, year-round, we get people who come up and say, going on a trip, I'm going on vacation, I'm just looking for some books to take with me. I don't know if I can ask you this. And we say, of course you can ask us this. This is the favorite thing that we get asked. So it's basically matching readers with books that they personally are going to love. And there are all kinds of strategies that we can use to do that.
You've been doing that in the newsletter, right? The
Mhm.
emailed out newsletter? I
Mhm.
love that.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the newsletter.
I'm so glad. Is it the e-news?
The e-news, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I love hearing what librarians are reading and what they
Yeah,
love.
yeah, we're trying to feature those on Facebook as a regular post as well when people add new shelves to their pages. And we also have a series of free e-newsletters that people can sign up for that are called Next Reads. And if you go to the library website, there's a little icon that says For Readers. It will take you to a landing page. And one of the icons on that page is Next Reads. So you can, if you're a reader of biography, you can sign up and receive every month a list of about 10 biographies with a nice little blurb. And usually what they'll do is 5 that are new to the library's collection, and then 5 that are on a theme that usually has something to do with what's going on in the world. They usually are kind of timely. So you can sign up for as many of those as you want. And one of the ones that we have available that Astrid puts together is she goes into our Goodreads blog and pulls those reviews out and puts them in that beautiful format that that Next Reads provides for us. Just plunks them in there so you can sign up for the staff picks as well and get those once a month and find out what we're reading and liking as well. So if you have any questions about that, I'll be glad to walk you through it.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Stacy. Okay. Let's see, Director's Library, item 12, committee and official representative reports. 12A, George, is the community engagement.
Yes, thank you. The facilitating team has now had 4 meetings. That team is not at this point producing minutes, so I have nothing particular to hand out. But the kind of work that's taking place has been to determine community co-chairs for the team, and the co-chairs, more or less volunteer co-chairs, are Daniel Russo, past president of our Friends Group, and Catherine Hubbard, retired teacher here in town, whose husband's family used to have the Ethan Allen store on the Avenue. And they're both really great people. Kathy had to miss the last meeting, but Daniel chaired the last meeting. Did a good job with that. And the group picked a theme, a name, a slogan, a tagline, all the above. This basically is speak up, engage, envision, empower. That's not right. Energize. Yeah,
You need the
yeah, I've already, energize. Yeah, yeah, no.
City of.
No, it's like I blinked, my brain blinked.
Okay.
And then Batavia Public Library. And our consultants have developed several, the last meeting there were several logos based on that. And the group narrowed those down into a couple options and color groupings. And I just sent out today to the members of the team sort of the 4 finalists for that branding exercise to see which one the group wants to proceed with. And so we'll be rolling that out, and you'll be among the first to hear that one that is selected. Probably at this point, not till after Thanksgiving, but before the next meeting. The group will not meet again until January. A lot of good work has been done in terms of setting schedules, picking topics for the community engagement sessions, or at least homing in on broad brushstroke type topics. The first will be a type of state of the library presentation, and then will be with exercises for the community and members to participate in afterwards to help provide that feedback that we're looking for. And the schedule will take us, community engagement sessions will take us through May, and a report should be coming to the board probably in June or July, I would think, with recommendations from that group. So we're actually, the schedule setup is, I think, a good one. I think it'll play out well, and Joanne is on that team. Do you have any? I know you missed the last meeting, but you.
I did miss the last meeting. I guess the scheduling was a lot of work with such a large committee to try to get dates set up. A lot of discussion on the branding, and I think we came up with a good one. We like to speak up. And the reason was the person who suggested it was that librarians are always telling you to shh. So it was an appropriate branding. So I think we're moving forward. A lot of this is getting organized and getting our 2 co-chairs. That was really important, and I think we have 2 really good ones. Still looking for location for the community engagement sessions.
Yeah, now the venue was a topic of major discussion last time.
Mm-hmm.
Our target is to have a place that will accommodate 200 people, with the idea that even if we don't get 200, we don't want to have a place that will accommodate 100 and have 150 to 200 show up. So the idea was to, find an appropriate venue that we can use for all 4 of the community engagement sessions, for consistency's sake, so people aren't trying to figure out where it is this month around town. And we've narrowed down the list to, a few places in town, which, since I'm not ready to announce it on BATV, the 3 other people will remember the wrong one, which often happens. But the job of finalizing that was tossed back in the library's lap, and so we're working on that in the office to get that firmed up in the next couple of weeks at most. Part of it is finding a place where the dates are open. That's trying to stick to consistent date schedule, and that's a challenge too. Meeting space in this town is a challenge sometimes, as anyone who has a member of a group can attest.
That's a large group.
For a large group.
Yeah. But I think the process is moving along well. We'll continue to provide updates here, and as other things get rolled out, we'll be copying the trustees. The big report to the trustees will be coming middle of next year with the recommendation. Each of the sessions will produce a set of ideas and suggestions and recommendations, and then the last public session will be basically a sounding board for, this is what we heard you say, is this what have we heard you correctly?
Did we hear you?
Which will lead to a final report that will come to the board then for its consideration.
Excellent. Well, it's exciting to hear that that's moving forward, so. Okay. We did not have committee meetings for facilities, finance, or outreach. Services did meet. We discussed a couple of the items that are here. The, personnel policies for personal purchases, and then use of library grounds. We also discussed a little bit about the review process and updating that and modernizing it, making it a little easier for us all to do our portion of the reviews that are done for staff, maybe just for George. So. Let's see, Batavia Public Library Foundation.
Yeah, we met and we talked about, what is it called? Is it Bulldogs on Parade? or
That's the concept, is Bulldogs Unleashed is the...
Bulldogs Unleashed. And talked about that and still trying to get sponsors and,
It's coming along.
yeah.
We need more artists, any artists.
I know, I
watching
saw
the show,
something,
yeah.
did you post something
I
or?
saw something on Facebook.
Facebook,
There's a
yeah.
marketing team tied to this, and there's been things on Facebook, and Michelle sent out a press release, news release to a lot of different, and then we've sent out letters to different arts groups in DuPage County and Chicago and other places that have like art leagues and things like that, trying to nudge artists to submit designs, so we have an adequate number of designs for the sponsors to choose from.
All right. Anything else, Dan?
That was basically it.
All right. Friends of the Batavia Public Library. Joanne?
Speaking of Bulldogs, the Friends have purchased half a Bulldog. And the foundation is purchasing the other half. And the home for that Bulldog, when he's all done, will be the library. So, last book sale was the 11th of November. Brought in $1,010.50. The next sale is the 9th of December. And that day, there'll be the regular sale downstairs. There'll be another sale in this room, which is the vintage sale. So it's always an interesting, the 9:15 to 4, right. And also the corner sale's going on now, and that's like gift quality books for Christmas, and that'll be through December. Only one other thing is we have a new board member. We're always happy to get new people on the Friends board. Her name is Carlene Hogan, and she attended the last meeting.
The vintage sale is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of
It's
fun.
coffee table books and older
Right.
books and
Interesting.
vintage broadly conceived.
Vintage is a broad term.
But it's just a fun sale. The price is a little bit higher, but it's just very interesting to see. It's sort of a special thing.
What's the date of that?
The 9th of December.
Saturday is the Saturday.
The second Saturday of the month.
All right, thanks, Joanne.
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions? Library Integrated Network Consortium, for a few more times.
Yeah, migration is continuing. There was actually a test load this week of the data, and then there's deduplicating of the test database and various things like that going on. So there's like technology pieces going on, and there's we're continuing to identify and work out solutions for the link as an organization's dissolution. So, and we'll have one last budget for Link, which will be skinnier than it's ever been in my tenure, and that will be coming forward early next year. So, just a lot of the details taking place. So, and on the staff, and this is affecting the staff level as well. And sort of things we can't do in terms of changes to make, because they don't want the libraries to make changes that would, mess up the data loads that they're doing. So just a lot of mainly technological things.
And remind us when the actual switchover to the new...
The go live date is scheduled for May 1st.
May 1, okay.
I always like to add or thereabouts, but I think they're pretty serious about May 1st.
Sure. So for the staff who are not able to do some things technologically that they would like to, I'm assuming that makes their jobs a little bit more cumbersome or complicated at this point?
No, not so much. I should clarify that better. That's a very good question. It's more creating a new collection, or making certain kind, a new patron type, or making certain radical changes in some of those things. So if we just keep on doing what we're using because we're adding materials all the time. There will be a blackout date in 2018, a period of time where basically thou shalt not add anything to the database for like this period of time. And that will be somewhat cumbersome, I think, because even if I understand it correctly, even the checkout data will be offline for just a very short period of time. And the cataloging will definitely be offline, for a short period of time. That will be more cumbersome than what's going on now. They just don't want us to make any radical changes to they call them policies. We have item types and patron types and various, location codes and things like that. They want us to not make any significant changes to those sorts of things. They don't want us to, change our loan periods or our fine rates, or not that we're doing that, of course, but those kind of things without working closely with SWAN to make sure that all that gets, integrated in the proper way. So.
Does that blackout period necessitate a higher degree of just kind of manual entry work, and will there be temporary staff brought on to alleviate stress?
Well, it will require some manual work. We probably won't need to bring on additional staff because we do have a methodology for this kind of thing in case there's power outages and things like that. And I'll know more about the implications of that probably after the first of the year when we have dates and things like that. I know that, for example, Circulation Services, Pam, the manager, is aware of, some of the ins and outs of what they'll need to do. Because that probably is the most significant spot when we're checking things out. At this point, I think, while there's some trepidation, I think the sense is we're pulling together well as a team, and we don't think there's going to be any problems with this. But I can provide more details as I get them.
Any other questions for George on Mike? Okay, Rich, BATV.
Right, two things. The budgeting process will continue, and will continue probably through December and into early January. Second thing is, because of contractual arrangements and so forth, BATV will not be covering the live broadcast of Batavia's championship game on Saturday. But it will be on at 4:30, and I found on Comcast that it'll be on channel 201, and it's called NCH plus H, which I don't even know I had. But I was able to find it. So 4:30, and there will be coverage of highlights later on BATV, but the actual game itself will be covered here. So.
Excellent. Yeah, it should be very exciting. Okay. Any other committee or representative reports not covered? Okay. Future agenda items. George has provided us a list for that.
The big thing in January, which usually is a consent agenda item because we have absolutely no control over the dollar amount, is the last ordinance abating the bonds, which we front-loaded, the board front-loaded all that rebate several years ago, so we're talking really just a few $1,000. But we're required by law to do it. So this will be the last time we will ever need to do that because the bonds will be paid off in 2018.
Thanks. Okay.
I have a question. Did we talk about the policy for safe and healthful workplace in the committee of services?
Yeah.
But that was, it says that we were in November or December, and then we're supposed to have a resolution on it in January. So will that all just get pushed out a little bit?
It will.
Okay.
It's in the pipeline. I try to predict when I think it's going to hit.
Okay, I just didn't know if I missed it
No, you did
last
not.
time,
No,
and we didn't have it, we didn't talk about it at all today,
That's
so.
different from the one
Yeah.
Five thing.
Yes, it's actually relating to OSHA. Yeah, it's actually a policy relating to OSHA requirements, and whether we have a policy or not, we're required to follow OSHA, but Nancy, when she came on board, recognized we didn't have guidelines in place that related to OSHA, so this will take care of that.
Okay. So we'll have that at our January services committee.
I think so.
That's the plan?
That's the plan.
All right.
And it's
As long as we haven't missed any deadlines.
No.
that's
Oh, there's no
fine.
deadline for this,
Okay.
it's just, yeah. The draft is underway, I know. so,
Okay.
you know.
I expect we will have many of our committee meetings in January, skipping many of them this month and next month, so.
Okay,
And then our regular meeting will be the 16th of January, Tuesday, 16th of January.
It's early. So if anybody has any issues with the committee meeting dates are actually January 2nd and January 4th, which are painfully early after the holidays. So if anybody has any conflicts, let me know about those.
That'll be a Tuesday.
You actually may have sent me an email about it.
The December one, but we're canceling.
That's right, yes.
I think I'm good for January.
Okay.
We can have it this weekend. All right, is there anything else then that we to discuss that missed here? Thank you, Mike.
Second?
Of course.
Who gets it?
Either way. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.